Today I'm really excited to give you an overview of the CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, the very latest version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite that we announced this morning. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 is a major new upgrade for all of the CorelDRAW users, and we really wanted to make sure that we have an amazing new version for everyone. Our users around the world, about over 15 million of them, are in two big broad categories. Either they're graphics professionals and use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite for over 5 hours a day, and they're either creative professionals or production-oriented designers, sign makers, engravers, etc. They're also in fashion industries and illustrators and fine artists. Or they are occasional graphics users. That means they use the product for up to 5 hours a week in order to enhance their flyers, make a special offer for local marketing collaterals, for example. And they work in sales and marketing in small businesses, and office users in the enterprise or hobbyists. A few common traits of all our users is, first of all, most of them are not professionally trained in graphic design, but have learned the software and graphics art skills on the go. And that is very important for us as we design the software. The other part that we see as a common trait for everyone is that the productivity is very important for everybody. A graphics professional, a sign maker, an engraver, etc., they're not going to be paid by the hours of using CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. They're actually paid by the project, and being able to be productive with graphic software and at the same time create amazing graphics which have a huge impact is enabling them to get more jobs for their business. For the occasional graphics users, being able to get your flyer done with the offer of the weekend and very quickly get printed so you can distribute it, the less time you can spend in the graphics software, the better, and the faster you can return to the rest of your business. So again here, productivity is key, and this has been a very big focus for CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 and throughout the development cycle of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8. Looking at the workflow of our users, very important for us. We spend a lot of time talking to our users, doing research, surveys, and on-site visits. And really, we want to focus a lot of our attention on the workflow and how do we make you, the user, be able to get through the workflow of using CorelDRAW and getting from an idea to a finished output as quickly as possible. The ideation process starts from either previous projects, files and documents you get from your customers, or content that we provide or you already have, such as font collections. Sometimes you also start from a blank canvas, and we really want to enable you to do the design as quickly and as efficiently as possible. You can also do some pre-production if needed in CorelDRAW, or we work with some of our partners, such as Roland, Epilogue Laser, Wilcom, etc. For example, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite includes all of the color palettes for the Roland vinyl printers and cutters, the large format, the VersaCams, and we have everything built in directly so you can prepare not only to use their colors, but also the cut control line and things like that. From an output side, you can take your designs and go to any format you want, from the web with web graphics, in PDF, in PNG, GIF, JPEG, EPS, etc. to print it locally on a wide format printer, on a plotter, or at your local print shop. Get it printed direct to garment, doing embroidery, doing vinyl cutting, engraving, digital signage, in many more different types of outputs. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is really the solution that enables you to go from this idea to the output as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So what's included in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8? First and foremost, CorelDRAW, our flagship graphics product, is both there for vector illustration as well as page layout. You can create up to 999 page documents in CorelDRAW directly, so there's no need to switch to another application for the page layout aspect. I'm using here CorelDRAW itself actually for my presentation. Corel Photo Paint is our award-winning professional photo editing application and bitmap editing application that enables you to create amazing photo editing and non-destructive photo editing directly from an application that looks and feels very similar to CorelDRAW. A brand new application in the suite is called Font Manager. I'll keep the suspense going a little bit, and I'll reveal in a moment what Font Manager actually does. The other application I just want to highlight here is PowerTrace, our solution to convert bitmaps and low-resolution photos and logos into high-resolution vector versions of it. Corel Website Creator is an application that, as its name indicates, enables you to create websites. You can take this, and it doesn't require any HTML coding knowledge. So even if you don't know how to code web pages and code HTML, you can create websites with this through an easy-to-use drag and drop template-driven interface. Corel Connect enables you to find and search the content that you have on your hard drive, on your local network, as well as the one that Corel provides. We offer you over 10,000 clip arts and digital images, over 2,000 high-resolution stock photos, over 1,000 fonts, and so much more in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, and all of this can be accessed using Corel Connect. Corel Capture also enables you to capture and do screen captures, and then there's a lot more in CorelDRAW. I mentioned earlier that we have that training is very important for our users because they are usually learning the product on the go and have not been professionally trained first in graphics art. And we include over 5 hours of training videos with the product. We also include additional plugins for PhotoPaint, such as PhotoZoom Pro 4, as well as the tools, everything you need in order to automate and create macros and scripts for CorelDRAW to automate the tasks you do in CorelDRAW and PhotoPaint. So what's new in this release? Well, I could go through a long list here showing you and talking to you about the compatibility and support, the new features, the enhanced font filtering, the font manager, the new knife tool, etc., etc. And there's a lot more here. But what I wanted to do instead is give you a highlight of a few of the new features that are included in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 and show you why they are so important for our users. And hopefully you will find them as great as or the feedback from our beta testers and press has been so far, and really want to enjoy and discover them in the trial version that you can download for free today. So let me dive in directly into CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8. The first thing I wanted to mention is about the compatibility of the latest operating system, Microsoft's operating system, as well as the latest devices. Today, we know that already over 25% of our CorelDRAW users have made, and those who visit the CorelDRAW community have already made the switch to Windows 10, and this is accelerating very quickly. So we wanted to make sure that CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 is built from the ground up to be optimized for Windows 10. Not only that, but we also wanted to make sure that we are fully compatible with Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 so that you can not only use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite on the latest version of the operating system, but also on the system you currently have and use every day. In addition to that, we spend a lot of time and effort in order to be compatible and ready to support the latest generation of devices and screens that you are using or will be using. One of the big changes is that we fully support what is known as 4K display or ultra high DPI monitor settings, which means that you can now very quickly go in use very high resolution screens and have a crystal sharp view on any screen you use. Very important as well, if you start mixing different monitors of different resolutions, CorelDRAW will adapt in real time for you. So how does it look? It's very hard to actually demo multi-monitor and high DPI screens with a webinar, but here is just a little peek on how you can see it run for yourself. In our options dialog box, we can actually override the settings of the UI, definitely by application, but we can override it over to Windows. So we can actually say, instead of doing 100% resolution here, show me the same application at 150% or 200%. And this is really the same thing as if you had a high resolution monitor and a normal 23-inch 1080p monitor at a standard resolution. It would automatically switch from one view to another as you move from one screen to another. So this is really powerful for our users to enable to do that. We also continue to enhance and greatly enhance our pen and touch support. We're fully touch compatible, so if I zoom in and pinch and zoom here, I can do that with just 2 fingers. And we also greatly enhanced our pen support. In the past, we did support Wacom tablets from a pen perspective, but now with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, we've added support for the latest generation of tablets with pen-enabled solutions, such as the Microsoft Surface devices, for example. I can now take my artistic media tool and make sure that I have the pen resolution, the pen pressure turned on. And as you can see, if I press lightly here with my pen, it will do a light stroke. And if I press hard, it will do a very thicker stroke for me. So this enables me for the first time using a tablet like this to really just grab my tablet with my pen and start sketching on the go. So I can very quickly start doing a design, and this is a quick character here. I can just draw that in just a few mouse clicks or tablet clicks and pen clicks, and here we go, we have a design. This is also how you can now very quickly, using tools that we had in the past, but enabling them using the pen and the tablets that we have, the latest generation of devices, I can now do, for example, shape recognition. So very quickly, I can use that tool to draw and sketch my designs the way I want it. And now I can actually get my ideas ready to go and work very quickly without having to actually go on pen and paper first, but go straight to pen and tablet, for example. I mentioned earlier that it's very important for us to provide our users the tools to learn as they go. And we spend a lot of time in our product to enable everybody to learn at their pace and discover new tools and new benefits of the product every time they use it. Our welcome screen has been greatly enhanced, for example, to add new functionality. We're adding new tours, which is a nice, great thing for a beginner. You have a new Learn the Basic tour, which will get you going in 10, 15 minutes, give you an idea of what is where. We also have a tour of the new features. So if you're upgrading to CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, you'll get a quick overview of some of the new features that are included in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. And we also have a transition to Corel Tour, which enables you to learn about the terminology and the differences in CorelDRAW compared to other products. Let me take the new features tour, for example. I'm just going to restart it from scratch. And you can see here some instructions explaining with them, designed to go and get going. Have fun, play with it. All the instructions are there. The knife tool is one of the tools I'll show you in a minute, but it explains how it works and how you use it, how you can cut and paste clicks, etc. options. I'm not going to go through all of this because I want to show you some of the new features that we have in this release. So let me just close this and come back to my welcome screen here. Other things that we have in our welcome screen is the list of new features, so you can learn very quickly all of the new features that are included in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8. We also have access to resources such as a video library, resources, insights and tutorials, and all this information is available there for you to learn. Whether you're a beginner and want to learn about the fundamentals of design, or you're a more advanced user and want to do some invitations or logo design, you have tutorials and resources available to learn very quickly. We also include different samples of artwork for some of our users that are beautiful samples of what can be done with CorelDRAW, and has been a great inspiration for many. In addition to that, we greatly enhanced our hint stalker so that as I select a tool, not only do we explain how that tool works, but we actually give you now links to additional resources to learn even more, such as tutorials, previous webinars, videos, and additional help topics. So this will again help you to dive into the product as deeply as you want, when you want it, and learn more and more about the product. In addition, we have an extensive community at community.coreldraw.com that enables you to discuss with other CorelDRAW users and learn as you go. One of the features that we've had requested for quite a while from our users was the capability of having a dark UI. And with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, this is the first version where we're introducing not only the capability of customizing all the workspaces and UI, but also to make it a more darker UI and look and feel. If I come to my options and select the theme, I can go from light to medium to dark to black. And it's for you to choose the look and feel you want of the product. My personal preference is the medium one, so I'm just going to go back to medium here and use this medium view. I can also change the window border if I wanted to. I can even use the eyedropper and use this gray if I wanted to. Or I can choose the desktop color. Here again, I could make it in this gray, for example, and then it's going to be visible there all the time. So very quickly, I can customize the look and feel of CorelDRAW the way I want. And I can also continue to customize everything in the menu buttons, in the dockers open, in the toolbars, the way I want. As with previous releases, we continue to include different workspaces. We have a light workspace for those who are beginners and don't want to see 3 different ways of drawing a circle. We have an X6 inspired workspace, which enable those who are upgrading from an older version to feel more at home from the get-go. the new default and current default workspace, which is the one that we've optimized for X8 for every user. And then we have some specialty workspaces, one for illustration, one for page layout, as well as one for those who are switching over from Adobe Illustrator. And you can just click on that button and you will see that that combined with the dark UI will make those users who are coming over from Adobe feel much more at home. I have to admit, I'm completely lost with that UI, so let me switch back to the default workspace. Very important for us is to offer our users the choice in order to be able to customize the environment that they use day in and day out the way they want it. So do you want dark? Do you want a different UI? Do you want a different layout of your workspace? You can choose it all. Now let me do a deep dive more into the tools that come with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite and some of the new features that we have in this new release. Let's zoom into this vector shape here, this vector object of a tree with a bird. And if I take my node editing tool here, let's say I wanted to just select the bird here. One option would be to use a knife tool and cut part off and then have its different parts. But now I can actually select a section of my shape here, for example, by clicking a first node here and clicking again. And this has selected every node on the path. If I click again, it will select everything on the other way around. But I really want to select only the birds. So this is a shift click on the last node. And now I can copy this and paste it. And if I take my tool here, just change the color, I have a new object that was created very quickly from selecting just a subset of the nodes. This really enables you to create node editing very easily and very effectively. The other thing I wanted to show you is the enhancements we did to node editing. Not only can you use the shape tool, but this will ask you to do some mathematical calculations on the shape, and you can really tweak them and edit them as you want. But we also have a whole series of tools that enable you to do shape editing without knowing about it. These were introduced with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X7, but we've greatly enhanced them this time around, especially with pen support and pressure support. So now if you have a pen, a Wacom tablet, or a tablet with a pen, you can use pen pressure to actually interact with those. So if I do a very gentle pressure, you can see, that was pressing very hard, you can see how it moves things very lightly. And if I were to press very hard, I can do a much crazier thing here in just a few clicks. Again, I can do now node editing without being a master in all of the mathematical formulas to do that. Let me jump to something else here. With CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, we've completely redesigned our knife tool. This is a completely new knife tool built from the ground up. And why is it so important for us is that we see our users using this knife tool, but then having limitations in how they use this knife tool over and over and over again. So one example here, I want to cut this logo here, but make it in two parts so that I can actually put it on a front and back door of a vinyl, of a car wrap. And this would happen is that you would want to print a little bit further out and do some sort of an overlap here so that you can tuck part of the graphic within the door and so it actually becomes seamless. So let me pick the overlap, make it in this case just 10 millimeters. I'm not using a scale here, but if you were to define a scale to your document, you can define the right scale here. And I'm just going to cut straight down. Sorry, oops, just cut straight down. Here we go. And now I have two objects here. I can just select one part and select the other. If I move it down, you can see how it has cut in the middle where I told it to cut, but it has also created an overlap. So I really have two parts that are overlapping with each other, and I can now very easily design and use in different shapes and forms. Let me come back here. We can also now use the same knife tool not only to do an overlap, but also to do a gap. So if I wanted to, for example, do a printing on a shirt and wanted to keep the zipper free in the middle, I could use that gap tool so it cuts it automatically correctly. Or if I use my pen here again and use the freehand tool, I can cut it with a wave very quickly and have two components come out very easily. Another enhancement that we're doing in this release is around the drop shadow. Let me grab our drop shadow tool and just pull the graphics here down. I'm going to show you first how it looked in the past, and we had this inside, middle, outside, or average functionality. But with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, we now have a new way of doing drop shadows, which we call the Gaussian blur. So here, this is how it would have looked with a previous version. And with the Gaussian blur, you can see that this looks a lot more natural, and you can still very quickly work on this interactive drop shadow to give it the exact effect you want in just a few clicks. I mentioned earlier that one of our new tools is about Font Manager, and let me show you how that works. And I'm going to open here the brand new Corel Font Manager. Corel Font Manager, as its name indicates, enables you to manage your fonts. It gives you access to all of the fonts that Corel offers online directly here, but it also enables you to not only manage the fonts that you have on your system, like Arial, and you can see the little green tag here means this font is actually installed on Windows folder. And if it has a little lock on top of it, it is a protected system font. So we cannot go and say uninstall or delete. But you can not only that, you can also add additional fonts very easily. If you have, let's say, a folder where you collected tons of fonts over time, you can just add that folder and Corel Font Manager will index that folder for you. So if you're a font junkie like myself, you can now very quickly see all the fonts you have and find the right font like never before. Here, for example, I have the Google Font Collection. It's a free download from GitHub, so you can really get a whole collection of some really good fonts. Just to show you, this is the Roboto font, which is the Android font, so it's in there. And what I could say is, okay, show me only the fonts, and let's add a filter here. I only want to show the fonts that are of script type. Here are the ones that are in that folder that are script. Again, yellow means it's not been installed on Windows, so no Windows application knows about that font. I can come into a specific font and see all of the details. Let's show only the currency symbols, the mathematical symbols, and things like that. I can look at every glyph in that character set, view everything, make it a little bit bigger if I want to see it better. Or if I want to start finding the right font based on a string of text that I have, Graphics Suite X8. Here it goes, and it will render for me automatically all of those strings in real time so that I can really choose the font I want to use in my project based on previewing it in real time. Let's say I want to use this family here, these two fonts, this Mountain of Christmas. I can now create collections by project, by customer, by whatever type of information you have. I've created a webinar collection. I can create new collections here by just adding collections. And now just dragging, dropping this into my webinar collection, I will only get this font in here. If I reset all my filters, I can also show in my application and all my fonts, show me the duplicates. So here I can see which are the font that I have on my system that are duplicates, and I can see which one are duplicates, where they're installed. I can now delete it, clean it up my system, and find them out. I can look at much more technology and much more options, which character sets, etc. All of this is available. But even more important for this is that once you find the font you want to use very easily, and you've added it to, let's say, a collection like this webinar collection, and that font, as I said before, has still not been installed in the Windows folder, I can still come back to CorelDRAW and use that font. Simply open my font drop-down list here and select a filter. I'm going to say I'm just going to look at the webinar collection. And here's my font. I can just apply it. It's that easy. CorelDRAW can now use fonts wherever you have them on your local machine or on your network directly from within the application without having to install them first. From the feedback we've received from our beta testers and from the press who's seen it so far, this is really a great addition, and that enables everybody to actually use the font that they've collected, and it works fantastic. If you have a folder with 10,000 fonts or more, it will work just great. A lot more around font and typography. We've also continued to enhance our insert character docker. So now if you come in here and you're a more advanced typography user, you'll see some of the characters here that are in gray. These are the character sets that are beyond Unicode, that are not coded in Unicode. You'll have some certain fonts that have certain ligatures in there. You can get them directly from here, or some certain characters in certain languages are available in there but are not Unicode characters. So you have access to all of that information directly there. There's so much more in the font part of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. I just wanted to highlight the new font manager and how we can access all of the details in just a few clicks. Corel Photo Paint has also been greatly enhanced with this release, and as always, we focus our attention on enhancing Corel Photo Paint towards the features that matter to you, that enable you to be the most productive, that enable you to do things you do over and over again very easy and very efficiently. Let me take this this image here, and I'm just going to open it in Corel Photo Paint. Here's Corel Photo Paint. Before I go into the application itself, let me just show you a few more things. First of all, you can see from the UI that it looks very similar to CorelDRAW, so that for those who are new to CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, you will find your way very quickly from one application to the other. The same options when it comes to customizing your appearance are available here, so you can make things bigger and smaller. You can also decide that for Photo Paint you want to work with a dark UI, but for CorelDRAW you want to work in a light UI. You can change your border, etc. All that information is available here. And I'm going to go to a more darker UI right now. You can customize everything as you did before. Everything regarding text is also integrated in CorelDRAW, so that all of the fonts, the filters, and everything I just showed you in CorelDRAW is also in Photo Paint. So all of that is available. But let me show you a little bit about our new healing clone brush. Normally, if you want to remove the spots and the imperfections on that lady's face, you would go with the clone tool, and it'll take a lot of work and effect to make it look great. With the healing clone brush, I'm going to zoom a little bit so you'll see better. Here we go. Let me take my healing clone brush. I can now, here we go. I can take my healing clone and I can pick a point here. Let's set this one. And now I can just go over the other side, and you can see how in real time it's actually recalculating the image so that it looks perfect. But it also takes the skin tone. It's not a pure cloning as it would be normally. It actually takes the average colors that are around. In just a few clicks, you can remove imperfections and make it look great. So that it actually is a very seamless and transparent look and feel and correction that happens there for you. Once I'm done, I'll just select Finish Editing, click Yes, and here we go, leaving Photo Paint. The image has been updated in CorelDRAW, so you have full round tripping. It comes back and forth. Another enhancement we did in Corel Photo Paint is around our perspective correction. Not only is this available in Photo Paint, so I could come in, edit bitmap, and change the correction in Photo Paint, but for things like that, we actually integrate them directly into CorelDRAW because we know we want to make it as little steps as possible for you to go through. So if I come into Straighten Image, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you see it better, I can now do a lens correction, a rotation of the image, or change the perspective here, the vertical perspective or horizontal perspective. If I'm happy with it, I can actually say OK, and it will actually crop this image for me in just a few clicks, and I can now use this. Let's make it just bigger. And you can see that it looks more like taken from a drone versus taken from the ground. Enhancements in Corel Photo Paint include a lot more around a Gaussian blur lens and as well as floating windows. We've also continued to make sure that you can do advanced non-destructive editing and have a lot more functionality in Photo Paint than what I will have the time to cover today in my presentation. Compatibility remains a very, very important aspect of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite continues to support over 100 import-export filters. So you can really work from files that your customer brings to you in any format and export to anything that your users and customers or printer will need. From Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, PDF, EPS, to TIFF, JPEG, PNG, etc., etc., etc. The formats are supported, so you can take your graphic and output that to anything you want and anything you need. In addition to the features that are included, and I only looked at a few of them, we have a full reviewers guide available on our website, which has a lot more information about all of the new features, and you can try them for yourself in the trial. As a side note, if you want to very quickly get a highlight of what's new, you can always come in the help and select what's new since version X5, X6, X7. Let's say you're upgrading from version X5, just turn it on and you'll see in the user interface that everything that has changed and evolved compared to the version you have will actually be shown and highlighted. So it gives you a quick view of looking what's new in the product since the version you have. Where's the matrix? Yeah. On top of that, we also have a comparison matrix on our version-to-version comparison matrix, which shows you everything that is new in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. But I just want to give you a quick overview, and there's a lot more to show in this product. One last thing I wanted to highlight in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, because I can already see that the time is flying and my colleagues are trying to answer as many questions as possible, but I also want to get a few bigger ones for everybody to hear the answers. I want to show you another thing that we're adding in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, which is what we call the Get More Docker. With CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, you can actually go and get more tools than what comes out of the box throughout the life cycle. So for example, Website Creator, I said it's a free product for anybody who purchases CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. You can just come in here and download it for free. For the Photo Zoom as well, it is a free product for anybody who's purchased it. You can get Photo Zoom Pro 4 directly here, and if you want to upgrade to the latest, you can do that from the application as well. We also include extensions such as a bordering grommet that I'll show you in just a second, file converter, calendar wizards, etc., that are available in the product. And if you pick one, you will see all of the information about what it does, as well as how it is, where you get it, and how you access it. So let me show you quickly this bordering grommet functionality I mentioned. Let me go under Tools, Bordering Grommet. I've selected this image because I would love to do a canvas print of this image. I'm going to go with my selection instead of the whole page. And now what I'm going to do is add a border, a page border, or a color border. So I can just pick a specific color from my artwork. Let's take this blue, say OK. And here is a border all around so that when I do my printing for canvas, it will automatically print that color on the side of my canvas print. But more importantly, you can also do stretching, and this is something that those who do canvas printing do over and over again, and it takes a lot of time and effort to do. Well, with one click now, you can actually stretch those images so that it looks great on the side, or you could do a mirror effect. So it depends on the effect you want to do. These are different techniques that are used by those who produce canvas professionally that do it over and over again. You can also add the grommets, and when you're done, just click OK, and this will produce a new image for you that you can then simply print and get out onto your canvas. A lot more is included with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. We also include a full SDK part of the product where you can not only automate tasks, record macros, and play them again for operations that you do over and over, but for those who are more advanced and want to develop more, on our community under community.coreldraw.com/SDK, you have a full documentation with API references available for everyone to develop custom solutions on top of CorelDRAW. As I mentioned before, there's so much more in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite that I would love to show you today, but these are just a few of the highlights of the latest version. The font manager, the knife tool, the new node editing tool, the independent touch support, the high resolution display are very huge enhancements that I wanted to mention to you all today. Before I go into the Q&A session, let me answer and present a few more details about licensing option and availability. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is available, and with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 is available both as a perpetual license as well as a subscription. We as Corel strongly believe in choice. It comes in the choice of how the UI looks from light to dark to the choice of how you actually license the software you use. You can buy a perpetual license and use the software forever. It's available as a full version as well as an upgrade version. And big change for those of you who are still in older versions, with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, we've decided to open up the upgrade path to any legal version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, older version, any version. So if you have a version 1, version 9, version 12, or X3, you can upgrade to CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8. This excludes academic, NFR, and OEM versions. We also have volume licensing and academic options available and you can get those through your preferred channel partner. In addition to that, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, for those who choose to, is also available as a subscription, either on a 30 or 365-day subscription, and we also have volume subscriptions available for the larger companies who prefer to go on a subscription plan. The choice is yours. You don't need to be forced into going down the path of subscription. You can choose if you want it, and if you don't, you can go with perpetual licenses. From a system requirements, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is fully compatible with Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and is optimized for Windows 10, which means if you haven't upgraded to Windows 10 or don't intend to upgrade to Windows 10, you can still use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite on Windows 7 and 8.1. But if you're going to the latest, and we know today that over 25% of those who visit the CorelDRAW community, for example, are already on Windows 10, you will have the best possible experience here with CorelDRAW. We've heard that some older versions don't look that great. Well, not only that, you can now use also and purchase the upgrade, and you can get to a great version for Windows 10 by purchasing the upgrade price and not the full price. From a hardware requirement perspective, an Intel Core CPU, that means it's been released in, I believe, 2007, 2008. So any computer is 6-year-old or younger will work great with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, and 6 to 8-year-old. And from a rest of the system requirements, 2 gigs of RAM, 1 gig of hard drive, etc. Fairly standard requirements. We don't need to get a massive new computer in order to run CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 and benefit from all the latest developments. If you don't have a touch device or a pen device, you can still use mouse and keyboard, no problem at all. And the only requirement is that you need to have an internet connection to authenticate your product, but you can definitely use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite in offline mode, so you do not need to be connected to the internet permanently. You will need the internet connection if you want to download the content or access some of the built-in features that require internet connection, such as the QR code. Regarding the availability, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 is available as of this morning in 14 languages. I'll let everybody check their flags. For those who are in Europe, it is actually also available in Europe, but you have it there. Available in English, German, French, Italian, Brazilian Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch, Turkish, Polish, Czech, Russian, Chinese, simplified, Chinese traditional, as well as Japanese as of today. The first physical boxes, for those who prefer to get a physical box, will ship in early April. We're hoping to bring this date a little bit in, so it should be around April 5th is what our goal is right now. And you can get, as of right now, a trial, free 15-day trial immediately if you go to CorelDRAW.com/graphics suite. You'll also find there the reviewer's guide, the version-to-version matrix, as well as a lot more information about this brand new version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. Altogether, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is a complete suite of graphic design software that provides you everything you need to be productive and provide you the confidence and versatility in visual communication. It provides you everything you need to have a smooth start and learn as you go. Very important, as we know that most of you actually learn and try things and experiment things. We want you to have the best possible experience. Every tool, for example, has extensive tooltips with explanation of how that tool works. If you select a specific tool, you can actually also show information about the selected tool with all of the shortcut keys here at the bottom. All of that is available. You have fantastic, powerful tools to create anything in graphics, from vector illustration to photo editing, to brochures, flyers, page layouts, to web graphics, and much, much more. Everything you need for graphics is in this suite. It has very powerful photo editing and bitmap illustration capabilities, from very simple graphics retouching to advanced non-destructive photo editing. It has up-to-date file and hardware compatibility so that you can work with the latest file formats as well as with the latest technologies and operating system. Customizable, fully customizable, as I mentioned earlier. You can choose if you prefer a dark UI or a light UI. The font manager itself is a really powerful tool that enables you for the first time ever to actually use all those fonts that you have collected over the years. So you can actually find the font you want to use very quickly. Let me take a different way of looking at the text, or just take the font name, and you can very quickly find the font you want to have and find all of the information of this font and what is embedded for characters in there. It has everything you need to do websites and website designs, from a very easy template-driven WYSIWYG drag and drop functionality. And always you can work with our CorelDRAW community and ask all your questions on the CorelDRAW community at community.coreldraw.com, and you'll get some fantastic answers from the crew out there, as well as from some Corel employees. We're looking at the community all the time. Finally, for those who want to automate tasks, you can go into the CorelDRAW SDK and do automation and customization of applications and develop your own tools, Dockers, or even interactive tools directly into CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. So this is an overview of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, and let me look at Cecile and Tony to see if there's any questions that we can answer to everybody right now. Is there so one of the first question is there still a limit on the number of font downloaded to a system? I'm not sure I understand 100% that question, but let me try to answer that. Today we know that, and everybody knows that when you have lots of fonts installed on your Windows computer, installed in your Windows font folder. The systems and some applications might slow down because they're going to go and review all of those fonts. That's one of the reasons we've actually developed Corel Font Manager, is so that you don't need to install them all if you don't want to. You can install them all if you want to. You can select the font, right-click on it, and say install, and it will actually install it into your Windows font folder, and you can delete it, uninstall it, etc., etc. But you actually don't need to. With Corel Font Manager, as long as the font has been indexed, just go to your library, select a folder, and select the font you want. I have that in my documents, for example. I have a Google Fonts folder, and I'm just going to pick this folder here, and I said okay, and it's just going to index every single font that is in all of the subfolders, and this gives me this folder here, so I have 1,750. If you have a folder with 10,000 fonts, it will index them as well. It'll take a little longer the first time it indexes, but then you have access to all of those fonts at any point in time in CorelDRAW and in Corel Photo Paint. Installation on a tablet. So any Windows, you just install CorelDRAW Graphics Suite on any Windows computer. We've designed it so that CorelDRAW Graphics Suite uses about a gig of hard drive in a minimum configuration. So if you have a tablet with less space, 32 gigs or something like that, usually you should be able to find the 1 gig. You don't need to install everything and every option on that device, but you'll still be able to benefit from the tablet there. So it's just about when you do an installation of that on your Windows computer, on your Windows tablet, just select a customizable, customize, and don't install everything in every language. Just install the basics. One of the questions about licensing and of the upgrades, if it can be installed on both the work and home computer. Now, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, as every Corel product and as every software, is licensed under the terms of an end-user license agreement, and you can find that on our website at corel.com/EULA. But in most countries around the world, there's some specific limitations in certain countries. But in most regions around the world, CorelDRAW is licensed so that you can install it on up to 3 devices that you own and use. So you could install it on your work computer and your laptop at the same time, as long as obviously you are the one who is using it. The CorelDRAW license is for you. It's not for your computer. So it's for you to use, and it's not for the office to use. I see a question about premium membership, and I'll have a little comment there about premium membership. With CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X7, X6, and X7, we had an offering which we called the premium membership. Premium membership enabled you to basically sign up for a service where you would get the major upgrades at no extra cost, and everybody who has a premium membership on X7 this morning got an email from Corel, or should have received an email. An active premium membership should have received an email this morning from Corel with information about how to download their copy of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8. But in the past, premium membership included more additional features throughout the life cycle. With CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8, we've decided to simplify things, and we are evolving the premium membership into what we call the upgrade program. So this is also available in our Get More area here. And if you come to your upgrade program, this is where you're going to have it. I have it active on my computer here, but this is basically the new version of the premium membership. So you can now very easily receive all the latest updates for a simple yearly payment plan, and then automatically, as a new version gets available, we will make it available on the day of launch to you. So this is a way premium membership is evolving. Anybody with an active premium membership is going to be moved automatically to the upgrade program, so you can still use all the premium features in all the versions, and all those features are included in X8, and you are also on an upgrade program now. A question about PowerTrace. Regarding PowerTrace, I believe we've done some minor tweaks here and there, but there's been no major enhancements to PowerTrace in this release compared to previous. Another question about upgrade eligibility, and let me just flip back 1 second here. You can upgrade to CorelDRAW Graphics Suite from any version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X from CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. I'm saying any version. Obviously, it's any legally purchased version, and it will include academic, NFR, and OEM versions. But if you have a CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 9, 10, 12, X3, or X4, X5, X6, anything, even a version 1 and you still have a license for CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 1, you could actually upgrade and purchase the upgrade version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. So we really want to make sure that everybody, all of our users on any old versions, have the opportunity to get the latest version at the best possible deal out there. So go ahead and anybody who has an older version, especially we're hearing from people on version 12 or X3 that have some problems on Windows 10, you can now upgrade to version X8 and purchase X8 at the upgrade price. One question about workspaces, and I get a question about that. So with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, if I come into my tools, I can come here under my workspaces and I could export and import. So if I customize a workspace, I can actually, let me go back to a lighter UI, it'll be more readable for you on the screen here. If I come to my workspace here, I can create my own custom workspace, new here, select how I want it based on an existing one, create and customize it the way I want, and then I could export that and go on another computer, my second computer, and import that customization back in. Sadly, it is not possible on X8 to import an older version workspace. There is many reasons for that. Primarily because of all of the changes in the UI and on the capability of supporting all these device-independent resolutions. It would have been, it's something that is very, very difficult to do, and we've decided that we wouldn't be able to do it for this release. So if you're on X7, you will have to recreate your workspace, or if you're on an older version, you will have to recreate your workspace, but then you can actually create it once and export it and share it amongst all of your computers. Can we upgrade to Windows 10 after upgrading to CorelDRAW X8? You should be able to upgrade to Windows 10 at any point, and CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 will continue to work fine. So you won't need to, normally you shouldn't have to reinstall. If you do the in-place upgrade that Microsoft is offering, you should be able to just do the upgrade, and CorelDRAW Graphics Suite will continue to work just fine after the upgrade if you have X8 installed on the system and you want to take the free offer from Microsoft to get Windows 10 before the end of the summer. Another question about volume licenses and if you need an internet connection. For those who are on volume licensing capabilities, who purchase volume licenses, i.e. purchase multiple seats and want to be able to deploy them internally, part of the volume deployment and volume licensing, we do offer a pretty detailed documentation that explains how to do the network deployments and everything you can do. And there you actually have the option to activate your original copy and then deploy internally without internet connection required on the machines that are on the network. But that's really depending on your IT requirements, and we're offering both. We have different options available there. I'm just looking if there's any other question. One more question about volume subscriptions. So again here, you can also sign up if you have multiple computers, just like volume licensing. If you have multiple users inside an organization, from 2 to 10,000 or 100,000 users, and we have all sizes of licensing happening with our product. You can choose to license it either on a perpetual basis through a perpetual license option, or you can license CorelDRAW on a subscription basis and have a yearly subscription for the users that need the product. And this again can also be deployed over the network. From a pricing perspective, I intentionally didn't go into specifics of the pricing. For the full upgrade versions, for box and downloads versions, the easiest place to find the pricing is to go to CorelDRAW.com/graphics-suite. And you'll find your pricing in your local currency. And for volume licensing, it really depends on the number of seats you're looking at, and therefore you should really contact your channel partner who will be able to answer that question. Question about the trial version, I'm getting the question, how long is the trial? The CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 trial is a 15-day full-feature trial. So you get access to everything in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite and all the features. You cannot download all of the fonts from our content server and the content we make available, or you're not going to be able to get a website creator for free. You can still download a trial of website creator on our website. But CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, everything CorelDRAW, Photo Paint, Font Manager, etc., everything is turned on for 15 days for you to experience and try it out. With X8, you can continue to save CorelDRAW into an older version. So if you just go and come and say, File, Save As. Here you can choose the version you want to save back. We go back to version 11. So you can choose the version number you want to save for it. You can also embed fonts, color profiles, etc. if you want to. The one thing that I'll mention here, and that's a question I'm getting from time to time, is why can't I set as a default to always save in version X6 or something like that? The reason we're doing that and we're not allowing it to be by default saving it back to an old version is that every time we save it to an old version, we have to convert certain of the graphics that you have in your document into something that the old version is capable of reading. By making it the default, you would lose all of the intelligence behind that tool to be able to actually edit them later on. So you can still save it back, and then we will do the best. And sometimes we will ask you, do you want to save it for editing capability or for rendering capability, and you can make a choice that way. And it's really for you to choose on that side. I see one more question about the Mac and CorelDRAW running on a Macintosh computer. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite has been extensively tested and is used actually by some of our users and by some of the employees internally, including myself sometimes, on Macintosh hardware. So CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is fully compatible with Windows 7, 8.1, and Windows 10. And Macintosh is a great computer to run Windows. Yes, it is not a Mac OS, and I can see people saying this is a trick, but no, it is working on Windows. It is not a Mac OS native application, but we fully tested it both on Boot Camp and Parallels so that you can really run CorelDRAW Graphics Suite on a Mac, no problem at all. I got another question about documentation. One thing I didn't mention actually on the documentation is that CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 documentation, we've decided to release the full documentation as an ebook format. So you can, if you have a Kindle, we have it available as a MOBI file format. And if you have it, an Apple iPad with iBooks, for example, you can get the EPUB version of that, or any other player and reader that actually compatible with ebooks. With EPUB, you'll be able to read it there. So that gives you the opportunity to get the full documentation. I think it's over 1,000 pages total, and that gives you the full documentation in an ebook format. We also have the full documentation available in PDF, and that's going to be available in the next few days on our website as well. And finally, I got a question about the official guide for CorelDRAW. That is a book written by a third party, by McGraw-Hill, and I will have to defer to them to make any. I'm not going to make any announcements on their behalf about when and if a next version is coming out. All I can tell you is that we are very excited to continue to work with our partner McGraw-Hill. Another one or two questions here. Tony, anything on your side that you'd like me to? You're trying to catch up, okay. One of the questions comes about Wilcom and the compatibility of Deco Studio and Embroidery Studio with X8. We haven't, and Wilcom has not announced any version, any new version of their products based on the X8 platform. I can guarantee you that we're working very closely with Wilcom today, and I'll let them do the announcement about their product. I would also recommend that you talk to Wilcom and let them know that you would like to see a new version. That certainly is a great thing to do as well. For a website creator, if you go to CorelDRAW.com/website creator, I'll just enhance it here. If you go to CorelDRAW.com/website creator, you will be able there to not only find about all of the new features and enhancements, but also get access to a trial version of Website Creator. So you can download a trial and try it for yourself at the same time as you try the graphics suite. And then once you're happy with it, and if you purchase CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, you can go and download Website Creator directly from within CorelDRAW. We also have one more page that I'll mention here. That is our photo paint page. So if you want more information specifically about photo paint, there is also a web page about that that will provide that detail. Yeah. Regarding another question about purchasing X7 now that X8 is out, some of our customers, and if you purchase through the channel, I believe there is still through our channel partners, I believe that CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X7 is still available at some places in some locations. CorelDRAW has stopped selling, or Corel has stopped themselves selling on direct side the X7 version. But if you want X7, you might still be able to find it at some of our channel partners as they haven't received the boxes of X8 yet. Another question about licensing and upgrade paths. No, there is no upgrade path from an academic version to a full version. It's only from a previous full or upgrade version that you can upgrade to X8. Academic, NFR, and OEM versions are not eligible for upgrades. Well, I think that's going to conclude our session today, and I wanted to thank you very much for your time. We're going to still be around for a few more minutes to answer the last few questions that are coming in through the GoToWebinar screen. But again, thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure presenting CorelDRAW Graphics Suite X8 to you, and I'm looking forward to getting all of your feedback, and I'll be around in the community in the next few days to just check what's going on and see what your feedback is on the new version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. Thank you very much.